Have you ever been in a room full of people buzzing with energy, deadlines, to-do lists, and yet still you feel like you're sprinting to catch up, not even to the other people, but to yourself? We live in a world that glorifies hustle. It tells us that if we're not producing, if we're not achieving, and if we're not performing to our highest level, then we're just simply falling behind. But what if what we actually need the most is to pause instead? Let's get into why slowing down feels so hard and what happens when we finally give ourselves permission to actually do it. You're listening to the Free to Be Mindful podcast, which invites you along on a journey to learn of mindful living, grow in mental health, and inspire through personal growth. In a world where we can often feel much stress and overwhelm, this podcast provides bite-sized tips and real talk conversations, empowering you to embrace mindfulness and nurture your full potential. I'm your host, Vanessa de Jesus Guzman, educator, licensed professional counselor, entrepreneur, and mom. I'm passionate about helping others live life with peace of mind and ease of heart without losing their, well, here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 274 of the Free to Be Mindful podcast. I hope that you're feeling good, looking good, and doing better in this world than you were yesterday. So we've all been conditioned to think that rest is something you earn. Think about it. You earn the cookie after finishing your broccoli. You get the nap after you've crossed everything off your to-do list. And you can get to go on that weekend getaway that you deserve only if you've hustled nonstop for months. And this being busy gives us the feeling that we are important. So then, in contrast, the feeling of being still gives us a feeling of being lazy. So we think that if we stop moving, everything is just going to fall apart. And I'll share with you that growing up in a traditional Dominican household, there was absolutely no room for stillness because laziness was just not allowed. I grew up that way, and I noticed that now when I'm cleaning, if no one else in my household is cleaning or at least moving around and pretending to do something, then it really bothers me to the point where I get really annoyed. And it took me years to be able to understand that the root of that energy and that shift in my emotions and in my demeanor, where that came from, it came from my childhood. And yes, I'm working on it. But where does this all come from for all of us? Well, it can come from hustle culture at work. It can come from high performance perfectionism whispering to us that our best is never enough. And it can also come from unprocessed trauma, which hijacks our nervous systems, keeping us on edge even when there actually is no danger in sight. And remember that trauma doesn't always look like this big traumatic event. It can also be found in those quiet everyday moments, like being told that you can't rest, or being scolded for sitting down, or only being praised when you were helping, cleaning, or being productive in some way. Those messages really shape us into how we feel safe and how we process being still. And that wiring does stay with us long into adulthood, unless we learn to name it, to understand it, and then to reclaim rest as a right and not just as a reward. So, beneath this all, I wonder if all of this movement that we are so used to doing, if it's actually based in fear, the fear of what might be rising to the surface if we take the moment to slow down. I'll share with you, when I was in my 30s, I remember hearing that you never fully know yourself until you've taken yourself on a dinner and movie date, which really meant no phone, no book, just you enjoying your own company. So one day I did just that. And I'll share with you that going to the movies was easy, except for the moments where I wanted to share a laugh or a thought with someone, but there was no one to turn to. But going to dinner by myself, not only was it weird, it was also uncomfortable. I kept wanting to reach for my phone or to talk to someone. And I was very aware as to how I may be being perceived by others, seeing that I was out to eat by myself. My next challenge one day is to someday go on vacation by myself, but I'm not quite ready to do that just yet. But these types of experiences really allow us to reconnect with ourselves, with our mind, with our body, and with our soul. So, what does it mean to actually reconnect with ourselves when we've spent so long avoiding stillness? And that does mean, again, leaning in to feel safe in our thoughts and in our bodies and in our own presence. So, we're going to take this one step at a time, beginning with our minds. Our minds obviously are constantly racing, making lists, replaying moments, thinking we shoulda, woulda, could have, anticipating what's next. And if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes the hardest part of slowing down is being alone with our own thoughts. But we don't have to fear them. We can simply observe them without letting our thoughts control ourselves. One of my favorite ways to do this is to do a brain dump where I write down everything that's on my mind. No filter, no pressure, no neatly staying in a line, just putting things on a piece of paper. Or you can also record it on a voice note on your phone. And when we do this, we let our thoughts flow so that they don't swirl around in our minds all day. Then we can try asking ourselves, what am I holding on to that's not mine? What can wait and what needs my attention or what needs my compassion. We've been told that being busy equals being productive, but being busy doesn't always mean being present. And presence, my friends, is actually where peace lives. So try sitting with white space, even if it's just a few minutes between meetings or before your kids wake up. It's just you letting yourself breathe and letting yourself be still. This doesn't have to mean being by yourself. You can try this even when you're standing in a store. Instead of reaching for your phone, trying to busy your mind, just be there. Observe what's happening around you, make up stories about the people you see, compliment someone in your mind, or say it out loud if you're feeling brave. That's all being present too. These tiny moments of noticing, connecting, or of simply just being in the now. Let's move on now to the body. We're often so disconnected from our physical selves that we don't notice when we're so tense until our backs are tight, our jaws are clenched, or our stomach is in knots. But the body is always speaking. We just have to make sure that we're tuning into it and really listening. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, where am I holding on to tension? What sensations am I noticing in my body? And when was the last time I allowed myself to rest and not just sleep? Because there is a difference between the two. Sometimes the kindest thing that we can do is move gently, not to perform, but instead just to release. And maybe that means it's a walk without headphones. Maybe it's dancing in the kitchen. Maybe it's stretching in silence before bed. Grounding practices help too, where we have awareness in the feeling of our feet in the earth, of running warm waters over our hands, of savoring the taste of your tea. Know, my friends, that our bodies don't need to be perfect. They just need us to listen. And finally, let's move to the soul. We don't talk about this enough, but our souls are hungry and not for the need to do more, but for the need to just feel. So I invite you to ask yourself, what did I love before the world told me that I had to be productive? What parts of me have I silenced? And what rituals, routines, or moments make me feel connected? Think to yourself, what aspect of a hobby did you used to do that now you don't and you miss? What kind of play can you include in your routines, even now? And it doesn't mean that you have to go swing in the park, although why not? But maybe it's blasting your 90s music and singing your heart out in the car. Or maybe it's dancing in the kitchen or doodling on the edge of your planner or watching the clouds just because. These little things do all make a difference. And it's your permission slip. You can make it a permission slip to reconnect with the parts of yourself that you let go behind the rush. And as we begin to wind down the school year, and even on the Free to Be Mindful podcast, as it heads into a short summer break soon, I want you to give yourself permission to do the same. Give yourself permission to wind down, to soften your pace, to listen to what your mind, body, and soul have been quietly asking you for. You don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to prove your worth through exhaustion. You're allowed to just be present, to feel joy, and to just be. Let this summer be a season of intentional pause, not because you've checked off every box, but because you're worthy of peace just as you are. And we know that as moms, we're so used to being on the go. I mean, how can we not be? We're just trying to do everything for everyone. We juggle the schedules, we hold the emotions, we manage the meals, we carry the mental load. And somewhere along the way, early along the way, we put ourselves last. But it doesn't have to be this way. I want to help you put yourself first, not out of guilt, but out of intention, to reconnect with a version of you who didn't feel so scattered all the time, who laughed more, who stressed less, and who actually felt like a girl. That's exactly why I created Amiga Mom's private coaching, to give you personalized support, practical tools, and the space to focus on you again. If you're ready to start that journey, I invite you to book a free discovery call, and we can start talking about what's been feeling heavy and how we can lighten the load together. So my friends, as you step into this next season, hold this with you. You don't have to rush to catch up. Know that you're not behind, and nothing good will fall apart if you rest. And I hope that you can allow yourself to be enough for today, and to remember that you're always free to be mindful. Catch you next time. Free to Be Mindful exists because of viewers and listeners like you. If you're enjoying the podcast or felt this week's show resonated with you, please take a moment to leave a rate and review on the platform where you catch your favorite shows. That quick and easy act allows me to see what you're enjoying so I can deliver more personalized content that focuses on learning, growing, and inspiring. It also helps others find the podcast too. Don't forget to subscribe so you can listen along next week. And if you can do me the favor and share this podcast on social or with a friend who may benefit from the message shared today, that would be truly appreciated. In the meantime, I welcome you to follow me on social media across all platforms at Counselor V. De Jesus for more fun content. And remember, my friends, in a world where you are free to be anything that you want to be, you are always free to be mindful. Catch you next week.